With the Crown Jewels edition, what this is going to provide, and I'll provide a demo also, is allowing us to be able to define our Crown Jewels, which are basically going to be our mission critical entities, such as virtual machines or even physical IP addresses within our data center. That is then going to allow us to run analysis to be able to determine basically the reachability from within the network using flow information from other entities inside the actual data center, whether there be physical IPs, internet communication, or other lateral connected virtual machines and so on within the infrastructure. And this is now going to also give us a nice overview so that we can determine from a security posture perspective where we may want to increase security and understand where different entities lie and corresponding to, from a reachability perspective of the actual Crown Jewels. And then also being able to generate a virtual network assessment report via PDF that includes details on the actual selected Crown Jewels within the infrastructure, along with what connected entities are within reach and what are the recommended rules that could be implemented to help better protect the Crown Jewel or the mission critical entities within our data center. Now, basically with the Crown Jewels, what we can do is we can choose and define a scope. So we can choose, whether it be virtual machines or physical IPs. And we can also choose inside that scope, whether we want to do, all flows, specific entities, between entities, or entities matching properties. And it's also going to utilize the flow retention within Network Insight, and currently being that as peaked at 30 days. So you can select your duration of analysis of up to 30 days. We also have a dashboard to manage the Crown Jewels. So as you can see here in an example, that we have a list of all the different Crown Jewels. You can see that these are a combination of different entities. As you can see, we've got, some virtual machines running within our data center. We've got some AWS EC2 instances. We also have Azure. We can have physical IPs. So many different entities that we can choose within the infrastructure, whether it be in the on-premises data center or hybrid cloud or public native cloud. And that's going to allow us to be able to run those analysis across those Crown Jewels. Now, the key thing to call out when you are running the analysis is you can do up to 10 Crown Jewels at a time. So you can actually come in and check which Crown Jewels you want to include in the report. And then you can select up to 10 and then run that analysis. And then you can also add or delete the Crown Jewels that are defined in the actual dashboard. Once we run the analysis, you're going to see an overview here, and I'm going to again demo this here. So you're going to see an overview of the actual Crown Jewel and each reachability score. As you can see across the bottom, this is going to provide us from a reachability perspective of each one of the entities that you can see grouped there in the actual line, including where the internet actually connectivity sits in corresponding to the actual Crown Jewel. We'll also show details around the number of connected entities, each reachability, including the Crown Jewel, along with the total incoming flows and total incoming traffic. You can also highlight your mouse over the actual interconnecting lines. You see the arrows there between each one of the set of reachability entities, and you're going to also be able to get details on between those groups of entities. How many flows do we see, incoming flows, and what is the incoming total traffic? And then we can also click in and look at what those flows are. If you want to search for a specific entity to see where it sits from a reachability perspective in correspondence to the actual Crown Jewel that you've selected, we do also have an option to be able to do a search where you can define an IP address or a virtual machine name, and it's going to then locate it and show you basically where it falls from a reachability perspective with that specific Crown Jewel. You also, if you do not want to use the actual graphical view of the actual Crown Jewels, you can also switch over to a table view. And this is basically going to provide you with a lot of that same information in a table format where you can actually filter down and so on. But you're going to be able to see from a reachability score perspective, which entities, what is the entity type, how many incoming flows, and then again, the total incoming flow traffic for each one of those. So I'm going to jump over to a demo really quick on this. So within Network Insights, what you're going to find for the crown jewel perspective is when you actually expand the menu over here on the left and you look under plan and assess, we've got security planning, we've got applications, our PCI compliance that we've had, but now you'll see the option for crown jewel analysis. When you click on crown jewel analysis, it's automatically going to pop up and want you to choose up to 10 crown jewels. So if you've already got crown jewels defined within the dashboard, you can go through and you're going to see that these are automatically grouped here by entity and by cloud. So you can actually come in and I can see the VMs, my Azure virtual machine, my AWS EC2. And so you can come through and you can select which ones you want to perform the analysis on. Again, you can choose all flows, entities, between entities, or flow matching properties. And then you can choose your duration, whether it's up to 30 days or do a custom. And then you're going to see how many flows it's going to do analysis on. You can run analyze, and then you're going to get that output. You'll also notice down here that it says you can add or remove existing crown jewels from the managing the crown jewels. So when we click on the management portion, this is going to open up the crown jewel management dashboard. And this is going to allow us to define what we see as the crown jewels within our infrastructure. So many different customers have, specific mission critical infrastructure, virtual machines or physical IPs and so on that they, need to keep an eye on from a security perspective to ensure that there's no immediate threat from a lateral movement and be able to implement security posture within that actual infrastructure. So here we can see I've just got 3 crown jewels that I've added. I can see what type of entity these are. Again, how many incoming flows in the last 24 hours. And then I can also see any type of total incoming flow traffic. And if I want, I can easily delete a crown jewel, or if I want to add a crown jewel, we can just simply click add. I can choose whether I want to do a VM, a physical IP, do a custom VM search or IP search. You basically just type in the name of the virtual machine. We also have a list that will pop up of all the virtual machines that have already been discovered by vRealize Network Insight, and then you can click those, and then you can also add additional crown jewels. The crown jewel management allows you, as you can see here, a maximum of 25 crown jewels can be managed at this time. So you can set 25 crown jewels and then run analysis against 10 of those at any given time. Now, once we choose the crown jewel and run the actual analysis, we will get the output of the crown jewel graphing. And what you're going to see here, and we've called out some detailed information, is you're going to see the crown jewel that I selected here actually just happens to be my vCenter within my on-premises data center. And I can see how many connected entities are currently connected to that vCenter, how many flows are actually incoming to that vCenter currently. And then we would be able to see also the total incoming traffic. Now here, again, as I highlight over the information indicator, it's also going to show me, again, the number of entities that were found during analysis of up to 10 hops. So keep that in mind, it is considering up to 10 hops. And then we define our reachability score. So the reachability score, have a better understanding, that's going to depict the lateral movement of the entities to reach the crown jewel. So the score will help identify risk to a crown jewel in case of a security breach. Now, other things that you're going to notice is we have, again, the option of each one of these from a reachability score perspective. We can see how many entities that we have. So in this case, I can see it goes from 8 to 208. Then it will jump up and go to 449. And I can see at each reachability point how many entities are within reach of that crown jewel. You can click on these to look at the total entities. So if I wanted just to click on 19, this is now going to show me the 19 entities that are at a reachability score of 5. And I can see the virtual machines along with any physical IPs. And I can filter down on those also if I'm looking for something specific. As you also highlight over the actual graph here, you're also going to see between each reachability score, how many flows we're seeing between reachability score of 5 to 4. So I'm seeing 23 incoming flows and roughly around 16.1 gigs of traffic. And each one of those is obviously going to be different because it's showing you between the entities of each one of those reachabilities from a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as we're seeing. And it's going to show us those flows along with that incoming traffic. Now, as I mentioned, some of the other things that you can do is you can also look at where the internet comes in and where from a connection perspective. So we can see that we do have a total of 3 incoming flows coming from the internet that are at reachability score of 1. And if I want to look at those flows, I can simply click on the number 3, and it's going to show me the flow records and the detail and the information that are within reach of my crown jewel. Now, also, what you can do is you can run this again, as I mentioned, across multiple crown jewels. So you can have a list of different crown jewels that you're doing analysis on. You can also come over here to the search entity name, and you can come in and I can type in, specific entity that I want to search. So let's say I want to look for my Hive video server. I can click that and I can see it's highlighting and showing me that the Hive video server is at the reachability score of 2 within reach of my crown jewel, which is my vCenter in this case. You can also look at this from the tabular view. So this is going to show you all of the various entities and the entity types, what reachability score it is at, the number of incoming flows, and then total data for the actual traffic sum. You can also click on the filter and you can filter down. So if I want to look at everything that's within one hop from a reachability perspective, I can see what I have here, and I've got these group of VMs, 8 VMs, and then I can also see the total flows for each one of those virtual machines that are the closest to the actual crown jewel currently. Now, you can also, if you wanted to create pin boards and so on to be able to monitor the specific crown jewels, you absolutely have that capability. So just like with anything else in Network Insight, you can go ahead and you can pin that to a specific pin board, or create a new pin board and pin your crown jewels to that. Lastly, we also have the generate VNA report. So when you click that, it's going to generate the PDF report. I've already done it just for time's sake. So here you're going to see the actual PDF that you can download and share either as a file or print. And then as you scroll through, you're going to see the details around the crown jewels that you ran analysis against. So I can see my vCenter along with all the entities, the detailed information, along with the connected entities, recommended rules. And then you're going to get information also included in the virtual network assessment report that's going to talk about what is NSX and Network Insight, what are the benefits, the importance of security within the data center, and threats to today's data center, along with what solutions that we offer here at VMware in regards to VMware NSX and microsegmentation and visibility utilizing vRealize Network Insight. So this is a nice report that you can generate from up to 10 crown jewels at a time and be able to share this with others within the organization.